It was freezing that night, the kind of cold that makes people rush home without looking back. But one girl stopped. A simple waitress, tired from a long shift, noticed an old man sitting outside, shivering, ignored by everyone passing by. She had nothing extra to give, no power, no money to spare, but she still chose to help him. What she didn't know was that this old man wasn't just anyone. And what happened after that night would change her life forever. Stay till the end. Because kindness has a way of coming back when you least expect it. The small diner sat at the corner of a quiet street, glowing warmly against the cold night outside. Inside, the smell of food and the sound of soft conversations created a sense of comfort, but for Aisha, it was just another long shift. She moved quickly between tables, balancing plates and tired smiles, doing her best to keep up despite the exhaustion in her body. Life hadn't been easy for her. She worked double shifts just to pay rent and take care of her younger brother, who depended on her for everything. There were days she skipped meals so he wouldn't have to, nights she stayed awake worrying about bills, but she never complained. She just kept going. As the clock moved closer to closing time, the diner began to empty. Aisha cleaned the last table, wiped her hands, and prepared to leave when something outside caught her attention. Through the glass window, she saw an old man sitting on the bench near the street. He was hunched over, his clothes thin and worn, his hands trembling from the cold. People walked past him, some glancing briefly, others ignoring him completely. For a moment, Aisha stood still. She knew she should just go home. She was tired, and she didn't have anything extra to give. But something inside her didn't let her walk away. She stepped outside, the cold air hitting her instantly. Approaching him gently, she said, "Are you okay?" The old man looked up, surprised, as if he hadn't expected anyone to speak to him. His voice was weak as he replied that he was just resting. But Aisha could see the truth, he was freezing. Without thinking too much, she removed her own scarf and wrapped it around his shoulders. Then she went back inside and returned with a cup of hot tea and some leftover food. "It's not much," she said softly, "but it will help." The old man looked at her with quiet gratitude, his eyes filled with something deeper than just thanks. He asked her why she was helping him when she clearly didn't have much herself. Aisha smiled gently and said, "Because I know how it feels when no one does." They sat there for a few minutes, not talking much, but something meaningful passed between them. Before leaving, she told him to take care of himself and walked away, never asking his name, never expecting anything in return. For her, it was just a small act of kindness. But for the old man, it was something he would never forget. The next morning, Aisha woke up early as usual, her body still tired but her mind focused on getting through another day. She didn't think much about the old man from the night before. Life didn't give her the luxury to dwell on small moments. But when she arrived at the diner, something felt different. The manager stood near the entrance, looking unusually serious, and inside, a group of well-dressed people sat at one of the tables. Aisha felt nervous as soon as she stepped in. She wondered if something had gone wrong. Had she made a mistake? Was she in trouble? The manager called her over, his tone uncertain. "They're here to see you," he said. Confused, Aisha walked toward the table. And then she saw him. The same old man from the night before, but he looked completely different. Clean, well-dressed, surrounded by people who treated him with respect. Her mind struggled to process what she was seeing. The man smiled warmly as she approached. "You didn't recognize me, did you?" he said. Aisha shook her head slowly, still in shock. He explained that he was a businessman, someone who had built a powerful empire over the years. The night before, he had gone out alone, without security, wanting to see the world without status or recognition. And what he saw had disappointed him. People who ignored, people who walked away, people who didn't care. Until her. "You were the only one who stopped," he said. "The only one who saw me as a human being." Aisha felt overwhelmed, unsure of what to say. She hadn't helped him because of who he was. She didn't even know. And that was exactly what mattered. The man continued, explaining that kindness like hers was rare, and that he believed people like her deserved opportunities, not just survival. He offered to support her education, help her build a better future, and even provide stability for her brother. But he made one thing clear: it wasn't charity. It was recognition of her character. Tears filled Aisha's eyes, not because of the offer, but because someone had finally seen her, not just as a struggling waitress, but as a person who mattered. Over time, her life began to change. She continued working, but now she had hope, direction, and support. She studied, grew, and built something better for herself and her brother. But no matter how much her life improved, she never forgot that night. Because sometimes, the smallest act of kindness can create the biggest change. Not just for others, but for yourself. And sometimes, the people we help without knowing, are the ones who remind the world what truly matters.